Hey everyone, welcome back to Couch Conversations with Sasha Love. I'm your host, Sasha Love, and today is another episode in our series, Rediscovering You. And the title of this episode is Accountability, or Taking Ownership for What's Yours. This episode, I kind of cringed before I even started because this accountability, owning my stuff, is some seriously hard thing. It's a seriously hard thing to do. And it makes me uncomfortable. It really does. It's so tempting. For much of my experience growing up and my early adult years, it was easier for me to say, you did this to me. This is your fault. You made me this way. I'm only doing this because you X, Y, and Z. Now, granted, I'm not saying that anything and everything bad has happened to me, any traumatic experience that I've had is my fault or it's all on me. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying, there's no but, what I am saying is I needed to get to a place where I took ownership for the things that I did. So, in other words, if I had a falling out in a friendship and I'm no longer friends with this person, while that person did things in the relationship that were not okay, I also did things. I also said some things. I also did some things that were not okay. And sometimes it's hard to take ownership of that because I feel like I'm losing that victim mentality. I feel like I'm losing that victim role. I feel like I'm losing the quote unquote privilege of being in the victim role. When I stay in that space of being a victim or being the one who was victimized, it absolves me from the responsibility to do my work. It tempts me into believing that it's the other person that needs to fix themselves. They need to fix themselves. They need to correct what they did. They need to apologize. They need to do the work to reestablish whatever relationship, whatever situation it is. They need to do X, Y, and Z. Now, I'm going to take a moment to pause here. For those of us, I should say, who have gone through traumatic and painful experiences, when, or anything that's been hurtful or tragic, anything and everything that you've been through, I'm not saying that any of that is your fault. I'm not saying that you should have done something to prevent X, Y, and Z. That's not what I'm saying. That aspect of the healing journey is completely different. What I'm specifically referring to are the things that we've done in life. The things that we've done, both good and bad. And I'm also going to make another disclaimer that even if there was something that you did that was wrong, that was inappropriate, or however you would describe it, it does not justify you being abused, being traumatized, being harmed in any way. So I wanted to preface that and make that very clear so that there's no confusion when I'm talking about the concept of ownership and accountability. Okay, so now that that's been mentioned, I want to get back to the topic of this particular video. So, like I was mentioning earlier, like the victim mentality was easy to be in. So, like for example, if I had a fight with a family member, I would feel very comfortable sitting on the corner of my couch and be like, okay, I'm gonna just sit here and wait. I'm gonna wait until you apologize, until you make amends, until you grovel at my feet, for us to restore this relationship. I'm not gonna lie, it felt good to be in that space because I didn't have to do any work. I was good. And I could convince myself I didn't do anything wrong and they need to fix and get their act together. But when I took a moment to check myself and really observe, like, whether it was a conversation or a specific interaction, 9 times out of 10, I'm not guilt-free. I wasn't guilt-free. Or guilt-free is the wrong word because it's not guilt. I was not perfect. I didn't do everything right. And 9 times out of 10, I did something or said something or acted in a way that was rude or disrespectful or just not appropriate for that situation. And I had to own up to that. It's not fun owning up to that because now when I look at disagreements, it's no longer about like pointing the finger at them. Now it's looking at me like, what is it that I could have done better? And that is not only humbling, that is sometimes a very tough pill to swallow because it is easy to be the one to always believe that you're the one in the right. It is always easy to believe that. But in the instances where we're not in the right, where we've contributed to the mess and the chaos and the drama, it's very important to own up to our part in it. The reason why that's very important because at the end of the day, I do not have the power to change anybody other than myself. I have no authority to make someone do anything. I have no authority to make someone change, to make someone fix a bad character trait or a bad habit. I don't have that power. I don't have that authority. And I will drive myself crazy trying to do that. It's hard enough trying to get myself to be in line, to get myself in a place where I am mature and try not to be petty, although it does come out sometimes, and a little bit passive aggressive. I will admit to that. But I have a hard enough time keeping myself in line. And now knowing full well that I don't have control of somebody else, dare I try to control and try to fix somebody else? I'm not doing that. I came to a place where I realized that is a fruitless battle. Now, it's still important for me to voice my concern. So if someone does something or says something that I'm not okay with, or if I'm in a space, in a situation that I'm not comfortable with, I will voice that. And I will share what it is I need to do and express what it is I need to express. But then after that, based on how the person or the parties involved respond and react, it is up to me to decide how I'm going to move forward in this situation. So in other words, if I have a disagreement with a friend of mine and I express to her, hey, I wasn't comfortable with this and I'm not okay with that, and they either continue to do it or they show no regard for it, or they simply disregard everything I say, then it's up to me to decide how I'm going to move. I can either create boundaries or reinforce more boundaries with this person. I can choose to completely let go of that relationship. I can choose to reprioritize that relationship in my life. Whatever the case may be, I can adjust. But what I will not do, and what I continue to challenge myself not to do, is try to get to that person and change them and say, hey, you need to pay attention to this. You need to figure out how to fix this. You need to figure out how to make me feel like a priority. That's not me. That's not up to me. That is up to them. They have to take ownership of that responsibility. I take ownership of voicing what it is I need to voice, and then from there, adjusting as needed. Now, that's the heavier side of taking ownership. The other side of taking ownership that some of us are not very good at are the good things. I was at work last Monday, which was yesterday for me. I was at work and my supervisor, I was on my way out. I was the last one and we were wrapping things up. Everything was done for today. I gave her my feedback about something that was going on. And then while I'm walking out, she's just like, you can do anything you set your mind to. And she's like, look at what you've done since you've been here. You've been here for nearly just over 2 years, going on 3. And you have started a project. You have become very efficient at your job. You are teaching. There are so many things that you're doing, and it's incredible. And I'm sitting here looking at her like dumbfounded, like, who are you talking about? Like, it's just you and me in this room. Like, literally in my mind, that's what I was thinking. I was like, what do you mean? Like, what are you talking about? And she looks at me and she's just like, she's a Jamaican lady. She's just like, it's because you were born in the United States. That's why you have all this self-doubt about you. But what I would challenge you to do is take some time to reflect on all that you've done so far. And I walked away from that conversation feeling light. I walked away feeling light, not because she just simply gave me a compliment, because she was, in a manner of speaking, giving me my flowers. She was acknowledging everything I had done up until that point and was challenging me to see it for myself. And in my personal healing journey, one of the hardest things, as hard as it is to accept accountability and ownership for things that I've done wrong to people and to people and to situations and how poorly I handle situations around me, I'm probably worse at acknowledging the things that I do well and right and good, things that are helpful, things that inspire people, things that encourage people, things that uplift other people. I struggle to acknowledge or to give myself a pat on the back, not out of pride to say like, I gotta figure it out. But it's more of just like, you're doing a good job. Like, you are an incredible person. And while I am not perfect, while you are not perfect, there's some great things that by God's grace, I've been able to do. Things that at one point I only dreamed about, or I wondered how I would even get to that point. How would I even get through this? How would I even manage this mess? And now that I'm on the other side of it, I'm just like, wow, not only is God good, but God is really good. And there's so many things, so many good things that I have been able to accomplish in my life so far. And there's a beauty and a gift and a joy that comes from taking ownership of that. I helped do X, Y, and Z. I was a part of X, Y, and Z. I forgave this person and let that go. I am actually being consistent with exercising and watching what I eat. I have love in my heart for this person when I used to be resentful and jealous and angry. Take ownership. Take ownership of the good things that are happening in your life. And it's not out of pride. It's not in a way to say, I don't need God or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. God is good. Even though there are seasons where it's almost impossible to say that because of what we go through. But God is also good because He has given us unique gifts and talents and has blessed us with opportunities to be able to be who we are and do some pretty incredible things in our lives and in the lives of others. Take ownership of that. So I feel like this video would not be complete without me leaving you with 3 tips. 3 tips you can take on your own journey of understanding what it means to take ownership. Number 1, understand that taking ownership is not easy. And our instinct sometimes as humans is to avoid responsibility, to avoid being the one at fault, to avoid being the one who's wrong. So number 1, realize that tendency and be open to embracing it and facing it. Number 2, understand that ownership doesn't just apply to the things that we don't do well. It also applies to the things that we do well. The things that we do well. The things that we excel at. Our gifts, our talents. Don't be so quick to heavily weigh the things that we've done wrong so much more than the things that you do well. Okay? And the third thing is, this is probably gonna be a running theme through all the videos, but give yourself grace through the process of taking ownership. It's not easy. It's very humbling, and depending on what season we are in life, we swallow humility a lot easier in some seasons than others. Sometimes it's just not easy. So be willing to face that head on, all the emotions that come with taking ownership, because it's real. It gets real when you realize some things that you have done, and some of it may be pretty messed up. Hey, some of us, myself included, have really messed up. And it's hard sometimes to face that. And sometimes we let the fear of facing that, the fear of dealing with that, keep us from facing it, dealing with it, healing from it, and growing from it. So face it head on. Try not to allow that fear to cripple you and to keep you from avoiding that responsibility, that accountability, that ownership. So let me know what you think. Share some of your thoughts below in the comments. I would love to hear from you. As always, you can reach out to me on Instagram at ccsashalove or via email sashalovecc@gmail.com. I got it right this time. And as always, the information is below in the description. So until next time, take care. Bye.